There is no better way than reading some summer books to get into the summery spirit. And we're actually going to start with a couple of rereads, but it's been so long since I reread these books that I feel like I'm gonna open them and it's gonna feel like I'm reading a brand new book, you know what I mean? And that is actually The Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy by Jenny Han. We're gonna read this one and then we're also gonna read 2 more summery books as well in this video because there's so many summer books on my TBR that I just want to get through. So I figured we would do that together, but I want to start off with these books because I want to read this whole trilogy before the final season comes out because I don't remember anything that happened in the first 2 seasons, nor do I remember anything that happened in these books. I read these books very early on in middle school. I remember being obsessed with them, but that's all I remember other than the little love triangle that goes on. So rather than just rewatching the first 2 seasons of the TV show, I decided I'm gonna just reread this entire trilogy. And this looks very scary because the copy I have is all 3 books in one, but I'm so excited to read these that I feel like I'm just gonna fly through it. I don't think I even explained what this book was about earlier, but I did make it to page 50, so I feel like I can give a little bit of a mini spoiler-free synopsis, even though I do kind of know what goes down. It's funny though, reading this book after I've seen the first 2 seasons of the show, all I can picture now is the actors that play these characters, and I definitely don't think the actors are what I was originally picturing when I read this book, because at least for some of the boys, like I think it's Conrad maybe, she says he has like really dark hair and Jeremiah is super blonde with curly hair, and in the show they just like, I feel like they both have light brown hair in the show. Maybe I'm misremembering, but anyway, I meant to give you a synopsis, not go into detail about their hair, but basically we have 2 families that meet at their summer beach house every single summer, which is what makes this book the perfect summer read. But in total they have 4 kids, so one family has a boy and a girl, and then one family has 2 brothers, and it's very much a YA romance, and it's also a love triangle situation, which based on my synopsis you can probably kind of tell what the love triangle is, but it also tells you on the back of the book as well. Yes, it says, all the while Belly has loved Conrad from afar until finally one fateful summer it seems like he might feel something for her too, but as it turns out so does Jeremiah, which is just, oh, that's so crazy. Anyways, I'm really enjoying this book. It's very just nostalgic for me since I loved it so much when I was younger, so I'm just gonna keep reading, keep trucking along. Maybe I'll talk to you later, maybe I'll talk to you tomorrow. Who knows? Good morning. I really just have a couple things to say. One, I made it to page 180 this morning. For some reason, this is so funny to me because this book has all 3 books inside of it. So I have no idea when the first book is gonna end, and it also looks like I've barely read anything. But I've read almost 200 pages, which is a lot. I don't think I would like it today, just because recently I've gravitated more towards the kind of flowy, almost like poetry-like writing. I don't know how else to describe it other than that. But Jenny Han's writing, at least in these books, is very straight to the point. It's very much like sentence, sentence, sentence. It's not super flowy. Like when I think of very flowy writing, I think of the Magnolia Park series and the way that Jessa Hastings writes. I feel like Jenny Han is the opposite, and I think I used to love that writing style, but now I kind of like more of the flowy writing style. But also just kind of depends on my mood and the type of book I'm reading. Like for a thriller, I like it to be like da 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 da, you know? But when I'm reading more of like a romance or any other kind of book like that, I love the flowy kind of lyricalness of specifically Jessa Hastings writing. That's just who I think of first in my head. I have finished The Summer I Turned Pretty. I actually started the next book in this trilogy as well, which is It's Not Summer Without You. I will say though, I have decided not to read the last book in the trilogy, which is We'll Always Have Summer, because I figured when I'm about to watch the last season of the TV show, it doesn't really make sense because I don't want the last book to be fresh in my mind. I want it to kind of be almost like a surprise. And I say almost because it wouldn't really be a surprise because I have read the last book, but obviously it's just been a long time since I read it. The only thing that would be a surprise is like obviously what they changed from the book to the TV show. And I know if I read the last book right now, all I'm gonna do while watching the TV show is compare the book to the TV show. So I don't want the book to be fresh in my mind at all. But reading the first book was a good recap, and at the same time it definitely jogged my memory a little bit about what went down in the first 2 seasons. So I'm definitely going to read the second book. But honestly, these books are like a little bit cringy. And it's like, oh, okay. But I ate these books up when I was younger. Like they weren't cringy to me at all when I was younger, but now I'm like, ooh. Belly girl, what you doing? Like, why are you acting like that? I'm getting secondhand embarrassment just reading this. And I do remember parts of the show being like a little bit cringy, but I never remembered it being that bad. Maybe I was wrong though. But I still stand firmly on the ground that if you have like siblings or anyone, maybe even like early high school, middle school, that age range, they would eat these books up. Like I ate those books up when I was that age range. So if I was reading The Summer Turned Pretty for the first time right now, I honestly would not like it. I honestly think I would maybe not finish the rest of the series. For nostalgia nostalgic purposes and because of the TV show is about to come out, I'm gonna read It's Not Summer Without You. My cat did in fact push my camera off of my dresser last night, so hopefully she didn't mess anything up, because not only did she scare me because I heard a loud bang while I was trying to go to sleep, but I was also petrified that she broke my camera. But anyway, hello. It's actually Memorial Day weekend when I'm filming this video. I think you're probably not gonna see this video at least for a little while after Memorial Day, but I made it to page 390 last night. Oh, I just realized that actually means nothing because all the books are into one book, but that's chapter 16. I wonder how far that is into this book. I have no idea, but I'm feeling very much the same about this book as I was the first one. Like, I'm really only enjoying it for the nostalgic purposes. But I was going to say, since it's Memorial Day weekend, we're going to the pool today. We're gonna have a couple people over at our pool and we're just gonna hang out, so I'm very excited. I actually just started making a little treat for everyone. I thought it'd be fun to make like a little red, white, and blue kind of flag little snack that we can have at the pool, but I'm debating if I want to actually bring this whole big book to the pool because it's so thick. I might actually start a different book today, but I'll definitely circle back to this book. We're gonna decide later because we also have like 3-ish hours until we're going to the pool, so that would actually be crazy if I could finish this book before we go to the pool. But maybe I will actually switch to the audiobook while I'm prepping our snacks, and I also want to do a quick clean of the apartment because even though we're not going to be in here, I want it to at least be a little bit clean. I've definitely just decided I'm gonna listen to the audiobook while I do all of my prep, but I'm actually super excited because I didn't think that the weather would hold up today, but it's holding up. I think we're gonna go to the pool. We're gonna have a grand old time. Although I will say today started off a little bit rough. I'm actually wearing this shirt because the t-shirt I had on earlier, I was drinking tea and sitting on the couch and I had just poured this tea. Mind you, I set my little instant hot water pot to 200 degrees and I'm drinking this tea. It's like still steaming. I like my tea hot, okay? I'm drinking it, pour it all down the side of me. You can't really tell anymore, but my arm was all red. My whole like armpit, whole side of my body was red, and honestly my arm still hurts a little bit. Anyways, I don't know why I just started telling you that story. Maybe just because I'm wearing Jack's t-shirt, but I'm kind of obsessed with this t-shirt. Anyway, let me go prep all of our snacks and stuff for the pool while listening to this audiobook. Chapter 16. Hello everyone. It has been a couple of days, but I did actually just finish It's Not Summer Without You. I actually liked this one better than the first book. I think just because it ends on like such a dramatic note. And I was saying earlier how I don't want to read the third book because I'm about to watch like the third season and I don't want it to be super fresh in my mind. But I actually think I'm going to listen to the last book, so it's not going to be in this video, all my thoughts. But I have similar feelings about the first 2 books in this series, mostly just nostalgic purposes, and I don't feel like I would recommend it to anyone older. Like, it just felt like a very YA book to me, which is fine because it literally is YA. And I'm also just no longer obsessed with this writing style. I kind of talked about it earlier. I like a little bit more flowy writing style. So I definitely think if I were reading these books for the first time right now at 23, I feel like I definitely would not have liked them as much as I did in middle school. But I actually started the Vows a couple of days ago because I got it on Libby and I'm already 9% of the way through this book. All I really know so far is that it's a second chance romance. And basically we have 3 people, and growing up they were all best friends. And so now that they are adults, I just lost my train of thought because I'm petting my cat right now. Hi bestie! Anyway, there's 3 of them. It's 1 girl and then 2 boys, and they were all besties growing up. One of the boys is getting married, and I think both of them are like his maid of honor and like best man. I don't really know. They're both part of the wedding ceremony in that sense, and they haven't seen each other in like years because of their breakup. But it sounds right up my alley because I do really enjoy a second chance romance. And in my head, whenever I think of a second chance, I always think of Love and Other Words because that was one of my favorite just second chances. I also really liked the Carly Fortune book. That's a second chance as well. That has very, very similar vibes to Love in Other Words. But I'm very excited to see where we go in this book. I will say I'm not really in the summery mood right now because it's actually very chilly and rainy out today. So I'm not sure how much reading I'm really gonna get done today. And I also have a lot of filming and editing to do. I'm 21% of the way through this book right now, and I'm convinced that there's something wrong with me because I don't want to read. That never happens to me, like actually never happens to me. And I don't think it's the book's fault. I just like weirdly don't want to read. I'm concerned for myself actually because this never happens to me. So I am in fact thinking about DNFing this book, but I don't think that that's the problem because I am enjoying this book. It's just like when I go to pick up the book, I don't want to read it. But when I'm sitting down actually reading, I'm like, oh, I'm having a good time. But it's getting myself to actually pick up the book is what I don't want to do, which is still concerning because I love to read. I'm constantly reading. And I wonder if part of it is because I wish I had the physical copy, but I'm not going to go buy the physical copy because like my whole goal this year is to buy less books and read more from my physical TBR. So I don't want to go out and purchase any books, even though I'm like currently reading it. So it technically wouldn't even sit on my TBR at all. I still just don't want to do it, you know? I don't know. I'm very concerned for myself and I wish I had the audiobook because I'm also really wanting to journal right now, like in my junk journal and just like be creative. But I wish I had something to listen to while doing that. But since I don't have this audiobook, I don't have anything to listen to. So fingers crossed the audiobook becomes available on Libby soon so that I can do my junk journaling and listen to the audiobook. I'm also debating making more like book spreads in my junk journal because I have some, but I don't have access to a printer unless I go to like an office store. And I feel like all the book spreads that I want to do, you at least need to like print off the cover of the book. So I don't know. Anyways, that was kind of just a random brain dump of me basically just saying I don't feel like reading, which is making me concerned for myself. But maybe I need to like make a cup of tea. Actually, that sounds fun. I think I'm gonna make a cup of tea and sit down and I think that will help me. Oh my gosh, it just got so loud as soon as I turned on the camera because they're mowing outside, but I need to update you guys because it's been so long. I'm now 78% of the way through this book, chapter 29. I'm actually really liking this book right now. I had a feeling that I would because listen, I'm a sucker for a good second chance romance, like a good second chance romance. And this one so far is pretty good, although I will say some of it feels like a little bit off or a little bit like, I don't know if off is the right word, honestly. Some of what was just happening like while I was last reading the book made me feel so anxious, and I don't like feeling that in a book unless it's like a thriller and I feel like I'm supposed to feel that way. But this book I feel like I wasn't supposed to feel that way. Obviously there's like a wedding situation going on, and so like just the wedding part was starting to really stress me out, and it probably sounds ridiculous, like especially if you've read this book and you kind of like know what happens. Anyway, the mower is kind of killing my vibe right now, but I actually got the audiobook on Libby and I have been so excited to just listen to the audio and do some drunk slash book journaling. So that's what I'm gonna do, maybe for the rest of the day, question mark, I don't know, but that's what I'm gonna do for a little bit. I might honestly just finish the entire book while I'm journaling because I have 2.5 hours left. You might see me when I finish this book, I don't know, but I'm gonna go journal. Hello everyone, it's been a couple of days since we last chatted, but I thought it was time for an update. I can't even remember, did we talk about? I don't think we have. Wait, I was about to just jump right into talking about Just for the Summer. Wait, no. I'm reading It Happened One Summer, and I was about to just jump right into talking about It Happened One Summer, but I just realized I didn't even talk to you guys about the last book I read. So I finished the Vows a couple of days ago. I think I'm gonna give it a 4-star because I obviously kind of forgot. Not that I forgot that I read it, but I haven't been thinking about it, which for me, that's a big difference between a 4-star and a 5-star, is that with a 4-star, I don't really think about it after I've read it. Like whenever I see the book, I'm like, oh, I really liked that book, but it's not a book that I continuously think about. So that's kind of how I feel about the Vows. Vows. I did really enjoy it and I highly recommend it if you are looking for that second chance romance. It felt very realistic and I really enjoyed their dynamic, not only like the relationship and the romance dynamic, but I also enjoyed just the whole friend group. And our main character, she felt a little bit like sporadic in the sense that she has a lot going on and like she's very stressed, especially because obviously she's the maid of honor. And so she has a lot of like responsibilities in the wedding and she feels responsible for anything that goes wrong like in the wedding. But her like feeling that way and her obviously being stressed about these things made her feel so realistic and I really appreciated that. But also something funny was that I actually listened to the epilogue of this book and I was thinking to myself, 90% of the time I feel like romance epilogues are just not totally necessary, and I kind of felt like that with this book. But I feel like some people just straight up skip the epilogue. I never skip the epilogue. I always read them, even though a lot of the times I just don't fully enjoy them. But I don't really have that many complaints. I really liked this book. It honestly kind of reminded me of an Abby Jimenez book. I don't know why though. That's probably just because I just read 2 Abby Jimenez books like pretty back to back, not exactly back to back, but I read them both within like a couple of weeks of each other, so that's probably why I'm thinking of that. I also feel like Jessica Joyce did a perfect job with the anxiety representation, and maybe that's part of why this book was reminding me of an Abby Jimenez book, because of the anxiety representation in yours truly. But highly recommend the X-Files. I will say the summer vibe in that book is a little bit more low-key. Like I feel like it's just kind of a springy summery book, mostly because it doesn't take place on the beach, and I feel like a lot of the times for a summer book, for me, they either take place like at the lake or at the beach. And it didn't take place at either of those. It took place at a winery, which I do feel like that also still gives some of that spring summer vibes. I don't even know, like I feel like wineries are really popular in the summer, right? I don't know. Then I started reading It Happened One Summer. I'm obsessed with the copy that I have. I think it's like a special edition. I don't know. I got it from Target and I literally only got it because I went to pick up Fearless and their books were buy one get one half off, and I was like, okay, so I need to pick up another book. Like I just have to. But I made it to the 70-page mark, which I think is right before chapter 10. But this book had its moment a long time ago. I'm just a little bit late to the hype. But I remember people comparing this book to Schitt's Creek, and I love Schitt's Creek. It is such a good show, and I do kind of see the similarities between the two, but it's only because our main character comes from a pretty wealthy family, and so she's had a lot of things kind of handed to her in the sense that she hasn't had to work for money, and she's still, as I think she's 30 years old now, still doesn't like have to worry about money or doesn't have any of those kind of things. But then one day she gets in a lot of trouble, and so her stepdad is like, okay, I'm cutting you off and you're gonna go live in this town because of like family ties. And so her and her sister basically go move to this town with like no money, and they kind of have to figure it out on their own, which is something they haven't really had to do before. So in that sense, it's very similar to Schitt's Creek. And like I said, I love that TV show, so I'm living for the vibe of this book. But so far, I'm not obsessed with it. I do have higher hopes because like I said, people are comparing it. Okay, I feel like I'm just repeating myself at this point. I'm gonna keep reading. I was hoping to go to the pool today, but I think it's gonna be a little bit too chilly for me. Maybe tomorrow we can go to the pool. But for now, I'm gonna keep reading, and hopefully my hopes don't get too high for this book, because I feel like when I go into a book with really high expectations, I'm setting myself up for failure. So my hair is a disaster because I really need to wash it, so let's just pretend it's not a mess. But it's been a while because I just can't stop reading this book. I'm on page 218, so I'm very close to finishing it. I feel like things might hit a wall pretty soon because it seems like they're all sunshine and rainbows at this point, and I feel like in a romance book that's normally when things kind of hit that third act conflict breakup situation. But at the same time, it feels like she's only been in this town for like 2 days. I mean, realistically, she's probably been there for like a month, but she's supposed to be there for 3 months. So it kind of feels like we're moving a little bit fast, but also slow at the same time, because like they hit it off so fast. So I feel like their relationship progressed really fast, but at the same time, I feel like she should have been there for a while at this point, at least because I'm assuming I know what the third act conflict is going to be. But maybe I'm wrong and maybe things will pan out a little bit differently than I'm assuming they will. But I literally found myself kicking my feet and laughing out loud to this book, which is such a good sign. I'm unsure if I think it'll be a 5-star, but it's definitely high up there, at least as of right now. I mean, I still have a good amount of the book left, so things could change, but I'm excited to see where it goes. And I mostly just wanted to tell you that I've been literally kicking my feet at this book, and I also wanted to tell you that this book is definitely spicy. I definitely did not know that going into the book, that it would be spicy, but it is. I'm gonna be so honest with you guys right now. It has been almost a month since I filmed this video and I sat down to edit. I didn't realize that I did didn't film an outro clip for this video until I sat down to edit it, and I was like, I'm missing a clip. So either I filmed it and I just lost the clip somehow, or I just forgot to film it, and it's most likely that I forgot to film it. I don't know how. Here we are. So I thought I would give a little recap of all the books I read in this video, my thoughts, my feelings on all of them. Started off the video with a little reread of The Summer I Turned Pretty. I reread The Summer I Turned Pretty and It's Not Summer Without You, and at this point I have actually also read We'll Always Have Summer, so I'll just talk about this trilogy as a whole. And honestly, I think my thoughts pretty much stand the same as when I read it in the beginning of this video, and that is that when I read this book in middle school, obsessed with it. I loved these books so much. Like, they were my bread and butter. Like when I think back to my middle school reading days, I'm like, yeah, this was probably one of my favorite summer romance series. I just loved it so much back in the day, and now reading it as an adult, I kind of feel like it's a little bit too cheesy for my liking at the moment. So I 100% recommend this for the younger audience, which I believe it's a YA book anyway, so it was written for that audience, but I definitely don't think it's for adults at this point. I keep forgetting that I read this book in this video. I also read the Vows. Now, I'm not forgetting that I read this book because I loved this book so much, but I keep forgetting that I read it in a video for some reason. I don't know. There's a disconnect in my brain going on at some point. I gave it a 4-star and I stand by that. It was so good. I don't know why I didn't give it a 5-star other than the fact that I just haven't really thought about it a ton, but definitely recommend this book. And then I also read It Happened One Summer, and I really enjoyed this book as well. I think I gave this one a 4-star. There's also one other book in this little, I think it's a duology, and it just follows the two sisters. Definitely want to read that one as well. I don't think I'm going to get to that one this summer, but maybe I will. But I did really enjoy this one, and in my opinion, the comparison to Schitt's Creek definitely holds true. By the end of this book, I just ended up really rooting for the main character, and then also just the sisters as well. I just really enjoyed all of the characters in this book, and I probably said it a million times, I have to like the characters to like the book. But that is it for this video. Let me know what other videos you want to see from me. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!